Welcome to Focus on Why. I'm Amy Rowlinson, your host. Join me to explore the compelling stories, profound insights, and captivating experiences shared by my guests from all over the world. Focusing on the importance of why, these relatable, uplifting, and inspiring conversations will empower, motivate, and guide you to create your own purposeful way of life. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Do you truly understand the power of a focus on why in business? Are your employees fully engaged? Do they consider their work meaningful? Or does your organisation have purpose gaps? Focusing on key areas of employee engagement, contribution, fulfilment, well-being and purpose, all of which have proven links to increased productivity and profitability, I deliver inspiring, mesmerising and captivating talks and workshops providing clear, actionable steps to take. To discuss your specific business needs, reach out to me via the link in the show notes and together we can plug those purpose gaps. Hello and Happy New Year. It's 2025 and welcome Generation Beta, a whole new generation for all those born between now and 2039. Obviously, they're not going to be tuning into this podcast just yet, but maybe in a few years' time they will be. However, know that everything that we do in terms of the choices and decisions that we make today will have an impact on this generation and their lifestyle. So while they might not be listening to the show, it is our responsibility to be thinking of their needs. But returning to the present and 2025, what lies ahead for you? Have you made any New Year's resolutions? Perhaps you've chosen a word to help guide you through the year. I have. Last year, my word was purpose, which helped focus me on publishing my first book, Focus on Why. The word I've chosen to focus on this year is collaboration. And with this intentional focus, I'll be seeking to work with as many people across the world as I can to bring more purpose into individuals' lives and their businesses. Why purpose and what's this show Focus on Why all about? Well, if you're a new listener to this podcast, then welcome. Please allow me to share with you briefly how it works. I invite people from all walks of life from all over the world to come onto the show and share who they are, what they do, and why they do it. I make a clear distinction between the why and the purpose, as I believe that while they are interconnected, they're not the same. Purpose is the overarching intention that guides your direction in life. Your why is the emotional significance you assign to your purpose. Serving as your biggest intrinsic motivator, your why provides you with your commitment and focus needed to achieve all intentions aligned to your purpose. The why emerges from reflection, while purpose is created through subsequent action. Through the process of reflection, you gain clarity and valuable insights into your inner world, interpreting and uncovering the meaning of your experiences and understanding your next steps. Reflection helps you identify patterns, overcome limiting beliefs or behaviours, and explore biases, strengths, and areas for growth, all while helping align your actions with your values and aspirations. After 5 interviews, I bring you a solo episode just like this one that you're listening to right now, which is called Reflections with Actions. This space is where I pull on various strands from the previous 5 conversations I've had with my guests, and I dive a little deeper to explore the meaningful significance that I take for some poignant moments. I reflect on how each of them might apply to my life, and then I take subsequent action. I then pose questions to you as to their potential relevance to your life. So here we are today with what is my 71st Reflections with Actions solo episode since launching the show way back in April 2020, with episode 441 today. It's now being listened to in 141 countries right across the planet. And when I started this show, I knew that it was the right step for me to take, but I had no idea that it would take me on this incredible journey that it has, that it would help me to write my first book, also called Focus on Why, and that the podcast would evolve into my life's work. I really do consider it an incredible privilege to hear firsthand what my guests are doing and how they're showing up every day to fulfill their purposeful work in their corner of the world. So I'll ask again, what are your purposeful intentions for this year? Are you creating a purposeful way of life just like 2 of my podcast listeners, Ruth Fogg and Sonia Ma, are? I subscribe to many newsletters, and reading Ruth's one on 19th of December when it landed in my inbox, I noticed that as a past guest from episode 180, Eliminating Stress, Ruth had written that having read my book, she'll be using my Focus on Why framework to plan all her goals for 2025. Now that's a fabulous example of reflection with action in motion right there. Then, on New Year's Day, after I got home from running my 46th park run and volunteering for the first time to sort out all those finish tokens, I happened across a Facebook post that had been posted the day before on New Year's Eve. Sonia Ma had reflected on all that she'd experienced and achieved in 2024, and she shared what she was grateful for. This is an excerpt of what she shared in her post. I've met so many incredible people in 2024, some at work and some whilst travelling, and some who have inspired me for what will come in the future 2025. But up there as the biggest impact on me is Amy Rowlinson. Look her up. Meeting her twice, her wisdom, her approach to life and her passion for life. I've listened to over 200 of her interviews with incredible guests, and I've always come away having learnt something. She broadens my mind. Now, while Sonia had mentioned me in her post, she hadn't tagged me in, so it was actually coincidence that I even saw it. However, I did see it, and when I tried to read out the words that she'd written out loud to my husband, I stumbled on those kind words. I had to take a pause and a deep breath and read them out to my husband, and tears just rolled down my cheeks as I did so. What Sonia articulated in her post is exactly why I do what I do. It's why I am who I am. It demonstrates how in my own way I'm making a difference to these individuals across the world, encouraging them to carve out their own purposeful way of life. So thank you, Ruth, and thank you, Sonia. And before I kick off with today's reflections, I want to share two more stories with you. Back in November, another past guest, Andy Lapata from episode 283, Professional Relationships, posted on LinkedIn that he didn't get to finish university for health reasons and that it had been something he'd always regretted not having his moment with cap and gown. So it was a huge honour and joy for him to be asked to address the graduation ceremony of the Institute of Leadership and Management Level 5 and Level 7 programmes in coaching and mentoring, and then to present the Level 7 diplomas. Now, why do I share this with you? For several reasons, actually, and they happen to be all interconnected, just as it often so is in life. Firstly, one of the graduands that day was another of my podcast guests from episode 204, Money Mastery, Leslie Thomas. And she shared that Andy had actually given me a shout out in his talk when speaking about the value of mentoring and working with young mentees. Apparently, it is a story that Andy shares often about how much he appreciated the support that I gave to one young student who needed mentoring and who had been referred to me by Andy several years ago. Andy said it was a pleasure to highlight the story in his talks and that it was nice that it got back to me through Leslie, but that it wasn't his intention for me to ever have even known. And I heard about these impacts that I've created, but it wasn't initially the intention for me to hear about them. However, both this story with Andy and Sonia are both great examples of how your actions instigate actions in others. So know that while you may never hear what ripple effects your words and actions have, know that they are occurring. Know also that good news has a special way of travelling, and it brings great pleasure to all parties involved when it does. For Sonia to reference my impact on her life and for Andy to include me in his talk, they're both wonderful compliments, and I'm truly grateful to them both for acknowledging the authenticity of my work. However, there is another ripple effect to this, because when I saw Andy's LinkedIn post, it reminded me to pick up his award-winning book, Mentoring, A Complete Guide to Effective Mentoring, which I'd not yet got around to reading, but I grabbed it to take with me on my trip to America, where I was heading to celebrate my 50th birthday. Now, Andy had co-written this book with Dr. Ruth Goshen, who, among her many accolades, is a prolific contributor to Harvard Business Review. Now, it just so happened that I was in Boston for the last few days of my trip, so I decided to reach out to Harvard University and ask them if they might want to receive a donated copy of my book for their students to access. This is what I received in response. We would be grateful to accept a copy of your book as it meets an express need noted by our undergraduate students. Thank you for writing this book and for offering us a signed copy. I expect that it will have an impact on many of our readers. With deep gratitude, Elizabeth Kirk, Associate University Librarian for Scholarly Resources and Services, Harvard University. Well, I was thrilled, to say the least, and so with that, I actually dropped off 2 copies into the Widener Library at Harvard. I was very keen to understand more about how Harvard University believed that my book would align with their students' expressed needs and what impact it might have on them, so I wrote back to Elizabeth to ask her, and she replied. 2 years ago, we invited undergraduates to respond to a survey on the Farnsworth Room and Collection. This is a popular space in one of our libraries that caters to undergraduates and has a collection of leisure reading. Among the topics we were interested in learning about was what these students valued in an intentional leisure/non-academic collection. They told us that they wanted certain types of fiction, current affairs, and self-help titles. Self-help books reinforce for us how we in the library could support broader efforts across the university to help students maintain a sense of balance and bright hope for their futures. Our students are incredibly driven and intellectually voracious, but often expect so much of themselves that they may fail to see that one paper or exam is a moment in time and will not decide the rest of their lives. Reading about how others have faced unimaginable challenges, survived, and remained optimistic about life can help put their worries into perspective. I expect that Focus on Why will do just that. Thank you again. Putting your grandfather's hard-earned wisdom into prose will do our readers powerful good. So there you have it. If you don't ask, you don't get. And if you do ask, opportunities will present themselves in abundance. I can't explain how incredible it feels to know that my books are now sitting on library bookshelves in Harvard University for students to access and to create a purposeful way of life. It is a dream I never even dreamed, and various circumstances aligned to create this opportunity. It was this opportunity that, for me, formed the foundation for choosing collaboration as my focus for this year. So what's your word? What's your focus on why for 2025? And while you think of that, let's dive into my reflections with actions for today. First up is episode 436, Drive Change for Good with Steve Howe. Now, thank you to Jackie Handy, my wonderful guest from episode 129, Unconscious Competence, and returning again in episode 362, Exploring Life's Path, because Jackie recommended Steve to me and made an introduction to invite him as a guest onto the show, and I'm always so grateful to have people recommended to me. Are you feeling overwhelmed by work and life? Steve Howe shares how a single life-changing moment inspired him to realign his work with his values, focusing on resilience, empathy, and meaningful pursuits. By adopting these practices, Steve believes you can reduce stress, foster engagement, and achieve fulfillment. He reveals how to balance work and life through personal alignment, building resilience and embracing transformative leadership. His story is a powerful reminder of the rewards of aligning actions with values, especially if you choose to drive change for good. Steve shares his transformative experience, highlighting moments of introspection and career pivots that led him to this more meaningful life. His journey is a testament to the power of aligning one's actions with personal values and finding true purpose. There are many takeaways from Steve's episode, and here are 3 key ones that I've taken. The importance of alignment, the power of resilience, and transformative leadership. Misalignments between personal and corporate values can be a significant source of stress and anxiety. Steve's story reminds us of how crucial it is to align your professional life with your inner values. He emphasises the need for resilience in today's fast-paced world. His work now focuses on helping individuals and organisations to cultivate resilience, to better manage stress and prevent burnout. He advocates for transformational leadership over transactional practices. This involves a shift towards empathy, trust, and long-term vision, which he believes leads to better engagement and satisfaction. Steve's journey is one that starts in a high-powered corporate role and transitions into meaningful, impactful work. There was a clear turning point that he can pinpoint as being pivotal for him. His personal experience at the bottom of the Grand Canyon served as a reflective moment for Steve, from which he took significant action, which was to change the career course of his life. His experience underscores the importance of pausing to reflect on your true desires and values. His pause led to the need and desire for change. He realised that a heavy focus on generating profits and extensive travel was not only detrimental to his well-being, but to his family life. He reflected on his work-life balance and recognised that a balanced life leads to more fulfilling and impactful work. Now in his current work, Steve helps organisations to measure resilience and well-being of their people and address mental health challenges like burnout. An advocate for transformational leadership, he helps people to focus on empathy, ethics, and long-term vision. This leadership philosophy emphasises the well-being of individuals and the importance of fairness and respect in the workplace, and he encourages individuals to be courageous in asking for help when needed. I invite you to think about your own work-life balance and personal values. Are there areas where you might need to make changes to achieve a more fulfilling and impactful life? The lessons and reminders that I took from Steve's episode were to take responsibility for both your family and your team by prioritising your well-being and collective success, to strive for a balance between work and personal life, which not only prevents burnout, but it sustains happiness, to recognise the need for change, to pursue more meaningful career paths and personal growth, to align your actions with your values to reduce stress and foster a more fulfilling life, to face challenges with courage, to seek support when needed and focus on personal and professional development, to lead with empathy to enhance team engagement, satisfaction and long-term success, to commit to transformational leadership, to cultivate a positive work culture and create lasting impact, to build trust and uphold integrity to strengthen relationships. Finally, to connect your work to your personal values and purpose to achieve a more rewarding and impactful career. Working in the space of purpose is, for me, an absolute joy, and to shine the light on the focus on why of others, particularly on understanding the emotional significance that they're assigning to their purpose, is, again, a gift for me. And for all of those who tune in. When you really connect with what you've been put on the planet, there really is no better feeling. So understanding what your driving force is at the core of who you are, the best gift you can give to yourself. In this episode, Steve spoke a lot about what he was doing, so I asked him to share more about who he was being. He loved this shift in focus, and his response was that over the last 7 years, for the first time in his life, he said that he was just being Steve. Without the stress and strain of trying to be someone else, he said it was a great feeling that he, with a mission to help and reach as many people as possible, was doing work for no other reason than just trying to do some good. If I were to ask you who you are being, what would your response be? Could you say that you were honestly and authentically being just you and living a life that is in complete alignment with your values, ethics and morals? Could you, like Steve, say that you are driving change for good? Next up is episode 437, Wisdom of the Wolves with Claire Payne. What if the key to career fulfillment lies in rethinking everything you know about leadership? Claire Payne, founder of Orthelian, shares how the wisdom of wolves, ex-racehorses and neuroscience combined is revolutionising leadership coaching and training. In revealing how to break free from workplace dissatisfaction, embrace joyful, meaningful work and spark innovation and authenticity, Claire is challenging outdated corporate norms and education systems. Empowering exceptional leaders to have world-changing impact with purpose, learn how to reclaim your authentic self and activate the operating system that is lying dormant within you using this incredible wisdom of the wolves. Claire currently enjoys a fulfilling and impactful portfolio career, Alongside being a partner in an international law firm, a tribunal judge, a non-exec director, and an academic, she delights in providing training, coaching, and immersive learning experiences that empower exceptional leaders to step up, have the impact they desire, and discover their path to joy and fulfillment along the way. I need to stress that while Claire does work with wolves, and I chose to call her episode Wisdom of the Wolves, it is still yet a very small part of the 20 plus years of human research and development she's had, and her focus is very much on humans. For me, though, it was one of the most fascinating aspects of her work that she shared with me in the episode, and this innovative use of wolves and ex-racehorses in her leadership coaching through their observation of their behaviour really helps to extract valuable lessons on collaboration, capacity and compassion that really does revolutionise human interaction and corporate culture. Why wouldn't we want to learn from the habitat that we originate from? Why would we choose to ignore the wolves who we coexisted with alongside for thousands of years? Why would we choose to ignore the information that ensures sustainability and provides essentially what's a brilliant manual for successful living? What Claire shared in this episode about the wolves is information I hadn't heard before, and I found it fascinating. So clearly, I wanted to share it with you too. Claire's purpose was born from a deep frustration from the type of coaching and training that she saw being delivered to executives, combined with this feeling of being terrified to admit that despite achieving everything that she'd been working for, she'd actually lost all her own joy. Despite what it looked like externally, life for Claire had become monochromatic, and she'd lost herself completely within this career pursuit. What Claire described in her life story with her workplace and life dissatisfaction, I resonated deeply with. In her pursuit of all these material matters, she'd lacked deeply in areas of fulfillment. And just like Steve, Claire is now on a mission to enable individuals to make choices that promote personal well-being and exceptional leadership to spread impactful change through empowerment. And just as we were wrapping up our conversation, I happened to ask Claire why her company was named Orthelian. Often a simple question like this leads to a truly beautiful answer, and again, I was not let down. As a child, Claire's father would read Lord of the Rings to her, and she loved the idea of all these adventures from these books and other stories that he would tell her. She believes it gave her a sense of adventure and instilled very early on that there was a whole world out there to explore. Claire described that an Orthelian is the name of the outpost that the Wood Elves have, and it is the tallest tree in it, that they've built a platform at the top of it, and it's where they climb up so they can see across their entire kingdom. Essentially, it means that you can see the wood for the trees. So for Claire, the idea behind Orthelian was twofold. One, it gave you a chance to step back, take stock and look at the bigger picture and see where you fit into it before you go back down and get into the doing part again. The second is that working with the idea of regulation. The model that she always explains to people about this tree and about this lovely opening up of your ventral vagal system when you're regulated is that ability to connect in with other people and to sway with the wind and be resilient. Going up into the tree of Orthelian is about learning how to use your own neurological neuron operating system and getting it to work for you. Again, this is a brilliant example of reflection with action in motion. Claire had reflected on the significance and meaning of a moment and then applied it to her own personal, purposeful action. For Claire, the name of her business not only connects her to her father and the power of storytelling, but it symbolises taking a step back to see the bigger picture and to improve resilience in life. Claire's observations of the wolves and the immersive experiences she provides not only teach us about collaboration, fluid leadership, and how to leverage our individual strengths for collective well-being, but it helps us to explore and understand our personal impact. And what I want to pick up on is the value of experiential learning. Full body learning experiences foster authenticity and reveal true capability beyond conventional methods. Experiential learning, such as working with wolves, offers profound benefits by engaging hands-on immersive experiences for individuals. This approach provides you with a deeper understanding of complex concepts like teamwork, communication, and leadership as you observe and interact with wolves' natural behaviours. It encourages critical thinking, adaptability, and problem-solving skills, as real-world scenarios require immediate application of knowledge. It also enhances emotional intelligence by promoting empathy and connection to nature, leading to personal growth and self-awareness. By stepping outside traditional learning environments, you gain unforgettable insights and practical skills that are more impactful and longer lasting than theoretical knowledge alone. When you explore the limitations of conventional education and corporate systems rooted in obsolete industrial era models that stifle creativity and initiative, this highlights the pressing need for broader societal changes and innovative approaches to address urgent problems requiring solutions. Reflect on your journey, challenge existing norms, and strive for a world that truly values individual potential, but at the same time, collective well-being. Claire shares her passion for transforming workplace culture by tapping into this approach to provide access to authentic leadership and personal fulfillment. Intriguingly, Claire helps people to draw these lessons from working with the wisdom of the wolves. Next up is episode 438, Finding Alignment with Emma Menzies. How can personal pain, loss, and grief lead to purpose? Former employment lawyer turned fertility at work coach, Emma Menzies reflects on her 11-year struggle with infertility and loss, sharing how these challenges reshaped her life's purpose. Emma discusses overcoming identity crises, societal expectations, and finding fulfillment beyond motherhood. Emma's inspiring story highlights the power of storytelling, self-reflection, resilience, and transforming adversity into growth. With practical insights, Emma offers guidance on navigating life's transitions and how she's now finding alignment in all aspects of her life and work. I want to hone in on the power of storytelling. It really does hold the secret to everything. It's such a powerful tool that connects us to life, purpose, and the essence of being human. Stories have the ability to transcend time, sharing wisdom and experiences across generations. They teach us about history, allowing us to understand past triumphs and failures while offering guidance for the future. Through storytelling, you can explore the complexities of human emotion, identity, and what it feels like to have a deeper connection to others. Stories inspire you, offering glimpses into possibilities and igniting the imagination to dream beyond limitations. They provide a framework for understanding your own experiences, helping you to find meaning in challenges and triumphs. It also bridges cultural divides, creating shared understanding and unity. Whether through books, conversations, film, theatre, music, or podcasts, storytelling remains a timeless medium to preserve knowledge, shape perspectives, and envision new futures. It's a profound way to learn, grow, and connect with life of what has since passed and what's yet to come. One of my recent guests, Manda Scott from episode 427, The Web of Life, uses the power of storytelling in her novels to help others to visualise and create the utopian future she believes that we need. Her episode is one I highly recommend you listen to, and more than once at that, as it's really shifted my way of being and thinking and what purpose means to me now. But coming back to Emma's episode, she explains how storytelling works. Not only does it open up the conversation and get people talking in the workplace and other parts of society on a topic that's often ignored or kept private, but it helps people to feel seen, heard, and acknowledged, particularly the pain and the grief that they have been experiencing in private behind closed doors. With these conversations out in the open, people can understand their own experiences and can move towards change and start to make progress. The validation and sense of acceptance helps the healing process. These open conversations around infertility and pregnancy loss matter, especially in the workplace. In this episode, Emma explains how personal pain and struggles such as dealing with infertility can serve as powerful catalysts for personal growth and transformation. Her own journey highlights the potential of adversity to lead to profound self-discovery and purpose. Like Steve and Claire, Emma also discovered that the conventional paths of career and societal expectations did not bring her true fulfillment. Her story, alongside theirs, emphasised the importance of turning inward to define your own purpose rather than seeking external validation. A significant part of Emma's story focuses on her internal struggle with identity and self-worth due to her infertility. By sharing her story and journey towards creating a meaningful life beyond societal expectations of motherhood, provides hope and inspiration for others dealing with similar challenges. In encouraging these open conversations about early pregnancy and loss, particularly in the workplace, help to provide understanding and support. Emma's message is clear. Even small gestures can significantly impact those navigating fertility challenges. Many of the lessons from this episode are transferable to other areas of life in terms of how to reflect on personal pain or setbacks that you're experiencing and frame them as catalysts for growth. To engage in self-reflection exercises like Emma did, which was to list all the current and desired identities to gain clarity on what truly fulfills you, you may find that the answers surprise you. Finding alignment in life and uncovering your true identity during an identity crisis is crucial because it brings clarity, purpose, and peace to an otherwise turbulent experience. Identity crises often arise when external expectations, societal pressures, or significant life changes conflict with your inner values and sense of self. This misalignment can lead to confusion, anxiety, and feelings of feeling lost. When you work to uncover your true identity, you can reconnect with your core values, passions, and authentic self. This process helps you to understand what truly matters, guiding your decisions and actions in ways that resonate deeply with your inner truth. Alignment creates harmony between who you are, what you do, and the life you lead, instilling with it a sense of confidence and resilience. Finding alignment helps reduce inner conflict. It transforms the identity crisis into an opportunity for growth, enabling you to build a life that feels genuine, meaningful, and purposeful. Next up is episode 439, Own Your Narrative with Natsuko Suwaki. Are you owning your narrative? Natsuko shares her empowering journey of navigating life's complexities with intention and balance. Reflecting on her experience as a mother, wife, and professional scientist, Natsuko highlights the importance of shifting from autopilot to intentional living. She discusses avoiding the superwoman mode, prioritizing work-life balance, and embracing choices that bring true joy and fulfillment. Through authentic reflections, Natsuko advocates for living in the present, making mindful decisions, and owning your narrative. There's such a strong link today between all these episodes and what they've all shared. Storytelling, leadership, choices, responsibility, change, they all spring to mind. Natsuko focused on being at the centre of your story, to own your narrative. And it may seem an obvious statement to make, but can you honestly say that you are owning your own narrative? What does it mean if you are versus if you're not? Owning your own narrative means taking control of the story you tell about yourself and how you perceive and present your life experiences. It involves recognizing that you are the author of your life, not merely a passive character shaped by circumstances, societal expectations, or others' opinions. This mindset empowers you to reinterpret challenges, reframe setbacks, and find meaning in your journey. Owning your narrative means embracing your past, including the successes, failures, struggles, and integrating them into a coherent story that reflects your values, aspirations, and growth. It's about defining who you are on your terms, rather than letting external forces dictate your identity. By owning your narrative, you can live authentically, align your actions with your values, and make choices that resonate with your true self. It's a transformative act of self-awareness and agency, allowing you to shape a life story that inspires both yourself and others. If you don't own your narrative, you risk becoming a passive participant in your own life, shaped by external influences rather than yourself. Without taking control, others, whether people, societal expectations, or circumstances, may define who you are, what you value, and how you live. This can lead to feelings of disconnection, confusion, and dissatisfaction, as your life may no longer reflect your authentic desires or identity. When you don't own your story, it's easier to internalize negative experiences or labels, allowing them to dominate your self-perception. Challenges and failures may feel like insurmountable setbacks rather than opportunities for growth, and your ability to see the bigger picture of your journey may diminish. Living without ownership of your narrative can lead to a sense of being stuck, unable to fully embrace your potential or create a meaningful life. So owning your own narrative is the key to reclaiming agency, resilience, and fulfillment. When promoting this episode on LinkedIn, Natsuko shared in her post that she has a fierce inner critic, a pusher, perfectionist, pleaser, protector, controller, that they're all part of her and their purpose is to make her the best version of herself. But by whose definition? This way of operating got her stuck in what we call superwoman mode, stuck in the do energy and focused on fitting into other people's expectations. She's since been working on changing her mindset, bringing more awareness to the why and getting back in the driving seat of her own path. We met one another while participating in a year-long personal growth program back in 2022, where both of us have since grown beyond recognition, which makes a lot of sense because the program was called Lead the Change. One of Natsuko's work colleagues commented on her post, sharing that she's an inspiration for so many with a focus on personal development. And he thanked her for sharing her insights and for being a highly effective, valued, trusted member of the team. The conversation I had with Natsuko was beautiful, natural, and indeed inspirational. The key messages I took from it may, at surface level, seem simple, but they carry much weight and are of great value. The first is that you're not alone, that no matter your situation, there's always someone who's willing to listen, and that speaking up can make all the difference. Seek and establish connections with like-minded individuals for mutual support and empowerment. Another lesson is to strive for a balanced life rather than aiming to be superwoman. Again, it sounds simple, however, it requires making intentional choices rather than operating on autopilot. A focus on intentional choices to achieve a balanced life leads to enjoyment, joy, and a sense of responsibility. But are you operating on autopilot or are you living with intention? The shift from one to the other will allow you to be more present for each moment and to experience more joy in life. Another lesson is around compassion and empathy through effective communication, as it deepens your relationships and helps you to stay connected, particularly with your youngest family members. Natsuko's authentic reflection on her path, from feeling confined by societal expectations to embracing her authentic desires, offers you the opportunity to reflect on the importance of taking time to evaluate your personal desires and identity. Everyone has the right to their own story and to make choices based on personal desires rather than expectations dictated by society. Natsuko's journey from feeling that she was fitting into others' narratives to owning her own is a powerful testament to this. Again, please do reflect on whether you are owning your narrative. Embrace your personal story and choices to find empowerment in being the central figure of your own life narrative. My final reflection with action today is from episode 440, Path to Gold, with Paralympian gold medalist Aaron Phipps and his coach John Cooper. Together they share their incredible journey from the heights of elite sport to empowering others through their collaborative motivational keynote. As a dynamic duo and newly formed bromance, Aaron and John dive into the highs and lows of competition, the transformative power of partnership, and how creative training and mental resilience propelled Aaron's performance beyond all expectations. With lessons on innovation, adaptability, and the joy of preparation, Aaron and John reveal how adopting a divergent mindset helped create their unique path to gold. Aaron Phipps, MBE, competes on the world stage as a 3-time Paralympian. He pulled himself from an impossible situation as a teenager to become the best in the world in what he does. He's a keen charity fundraiser, and in 2016 he set himself the biggest challenge yet, to scale Mount Kilimanjaro in a wheelchair. He's been ranked in the top 100 most influential people in the UK with a disability, and his story moves audiences across the globe. John Cooper has been a performance coach in elite sports for over 12 years, training a range of athletes from professional football, Olympic sailing and international athletics. He's also a PhD candidate, published researcher and university lecturer in sports science and coaching. Aaron describes John as his biggest cheerleader and harshest critic, yet the best coach he's ever worked with. John describes Aaron as an inspiration, a truly great athlete, and the most driven person he's ever met, which is both a blessing and a curse, being his coach. I can't explain how excited I was to have these two come on to the podcast. I absolutely love sport, and I love what these two both stand for. I've had the privilege to see them deliver their keynote to an audience. In fact, it was the very first time that they did so, just after they realised that their keynote, Path to Gold, was going to be literally just that, having spoken to John's MSc students for the first time. However, as always, I show up to each of these podcast interviews from a position of not assuming or knowing what or which stories my guests might share, and I don't have any pre-planned questions, nor do I have any steer or bias as to where the conversation is going to go. This way, what you hear as a listener is exactly what I hear for the first time often. This way, it's more authentic, and I simply listen to what they've shared and I ask questions based on that content instead of me trying to engineer into the conversation something that I already know. So despite having heard Aaron and John deliver their keynote, not once, but by the time we recorded twice, I still came from the position of not knowing anything, to stay present to what they shared in the moment. And this episode is literally and metaphorically a path to gold in so many ways. There are so many transferable business and life lessons to take away. As for each of the episodes I record as a listener, you'll take something away that's personal and relevant to you. What I do find curious is that when you listen to an episode, you get a different takeaway every time. And the lesson that you take away today that you needed to hear might not be the lesson that you need to hear the next time you listen to it. And so you'll take something different away. This is because also you're not the same person. Each time you listen to it, you've got more knowledge, you've experienced more in your life, and you've faced more challenges. What I want to focus on here is something that John said, which was there's a difference between putting the person at the centre of the journey and relying on the person to navigate the journey. What did John mean by this? I believe in the context of the conversation, it's about the coach designing a collaborative approach, tailoring strategies to the person's unique needs, strengths and circumstances, and the method that empowers the athlete while providing structured guidance and support will ensure progress even during all the challenges they face. In this case, it was a global pandemic which restricted access to the world-class facilities they were used to and threw up circumstances that had never been encountered. In contrast, relying on the person to navigate the journey shifts the burden entirely to the athlete, potentially leaving them unsupported and overwhelmed. So what do? Well, they employed divergent coaching approaches which emphasise creativity and adaptability, allowing John as a coach to develop innovative training methods while fostering resilience and ensuring that Aaron felt seen, heard and valued. Perhaps more importantly, challenged and supported. What they did together on that path in a park during the pandemic was nothing short of miraculous in terms of percentage performance gains. The fact that they couldn't measure the exact progress they were getting every day meant that they had no direct correlation as to just how much ground they had made during this time and exceeded beyond expectations. This divergent and collaborative mindset meant that their private shared whispers of achieving gold medals actually became a reality. They had set impossible goals, held absolute truths, and built and maintained an effective performance partnership throughout a great time of uncertainty. And what sat beneath their purposeful actions sat their purposeful why. We have purpose was the mantra that ran through their veins. Together, they challenged the status quo. They believed in one another's capabilities and strengths. They each brought different skill sets to the table, championing one another, stretching one another. Together, they navigated the journey with the collaboration that they created. They may joke and call it a bromance, but what they created together was very special and it continues on today. They allow one another space to grow, and that is how they've not only created the incredible path to gold, but they remain on it, and now they're showing others how it is possible to create their own path to gold. So what about you? What does your path to gold look like, and how might divergent thinking help you to create it? What value have you gained from tuning in to Focus on Why today? What are your reflections with actions? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or via LinkedIn and share how Focus on Why has made a difference to you. Your feedback not only will inspire others, but will help them to discover how Focus on Why has created powerful ripple effects. Let's continue the conversation. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook or X, join the Focus on Why Facebook group and sign up for my weekly newsletter, Friday Focus, to keep in touch. All the links are in the show notes. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.